Hello, I am Maria-Lana Queen, and I'm an abstract artist. I'm a Washingtonian, and I am self-taught. I mostly work in mixed media, and I've been painting for about 25 years or so. I'm proud to say that I currently have a couple of paintings in the Venice Biennale, and that's through the Nowhere Art Gallery on Martha's Vineyard. I also have a couple of pieces in the Brendan Larry Thompson collection at the Georgia Museum of Art. I'm very proud of that. And I also recently participated in Art Scope in Miami. So I'll tell you a little bit more about why I paint. I started painting when, unfortunately, one of my brothers passed away unexpectedly about over 20 years ago. And my significant friend, Marva, gave me a set of art supplies. She's a collector and is really into the arts, but she gave me a beautiful set of art supplies to help me through my grieving process. So that's why I'm a self-taught artist. I really have had no formal education in painting, but I use those art supplies to get me through grief. And it's been a phenomenal relationship ever since then between my mentor Marva and just everything about art. I've been exposed to, and I'm just so excited to be in the art industry and art world. And I'm going to talk about this piece behind me, but basically painting is my painted diary. Everything that I paint is about my inner feelings, just about every emotion that you can capture: sadness, happiness, other states of mind, relationships, my faith, family, culture, and sometimes advocacy and anger. So at any rate, that's a little bit of who I am. So regarding my artistic process, because I am a self-taught artist, I don't follow any rules. I'm not aware of any rules with painting or creating. So I just do my thing. And once I start reflecting on something or subject, or once I feel really passionate about it, it could be a negative subject, it can be a positive subject. I then start forming in my mind what that's going to look like. Typically, I work on canvas and or paper. I never know what I'm going to create. I just start painting. If I'm working on canvas, I have to work from unstretched painting. So usually I acquire a large roll of canvas, and then I'll cut the size that I prefer. Working with stretched canvas is not my thing because I feel caged. I feel very limited. And so I prefer to create my own size of canvas. And then that canvas starts speaking with me as far as my color palette. I never know, again, I don't even know about the rules of engagement with different paints, but I love to work with vibrant paint, of course, and also black palette is background or color. Black is a vibrant paint, and there's so many different types or colors of black paint. So you'll see that in some of my work, but I use that as a basis as well. Sometimes if I'm working in paper, you'll see my paper shredded or razor bladed or torn or something. That's intentional. And it just, again, reflects where I am. But generally, I use my life story, my background, my culture as an African American female to reflect or depict my works of arts. And so I'm one of 10 children. You'll see that, and you'll see that number reflected in my paintings. I was raised in a single parent household, poor. My faith is really strong, and so oftentimes you'll see crosses. You may see them as vivid, or they may be teeny crosses, or somewhere where you have to look a little bit more. I also sometimes demonstrate it says crosses, cages, because sometimes we just feel caged, right? But most of the time, my cages are open and they explode on paper or canvas, because that shows that we are empowered and we are able to move on in a positive way. Sometimes you will see ladders in my work. Ladders represent a way out in decisions that we're making as we're moving up in life, or as we're moving down, unfortunately, or have some situation that we are addressing. I'm very curious about my DNA, and I often show that through images that look as though you're looking through a microscope. So you might see dots in my work, but you have to look really closely to see that. And what else? I think I channel my ancestors. So sometimes my titles are such that it takes you back to history. It might be something that I'm channeling from 1619 as I learn more about that. It may be something that I'm channeling just based on slavery and history and bringing that back to the forefront so that my work is able to educate the next generation as well as young people. And so that's a little bit about my work, and I hope that I will have a legacy of being able to channel just about every emotion that we all go through, no matter what race or background we are, but that we also appreciate our history and culture. And so I'm mindful of that. I am also an advocate for young African American youth. And so again, you might see some of that depicted or reflected in my work. And I'm all about empowerment and trying to just keep a positive state of mind, even when the state of the situation is rather negative. I'm channeling something to reverse that. But again, to be true to history, culture, and what we're feeling at the present time. I titled this painting Awakening, and it's a little bit about what I said before, a combination of everything, but this painting pays homage to our ancestors. I could say our or my ancestors. As an African American female, I am constantly aware that I come from a generation or DNA of a very positive, strong, resilient group of individuals, and so no matter what their plight was, I know that there was a struggle. I know that there were times where obviously they didn't have their freedom. And so today I am living a much better, positive life because of them, because they paved the way for me. So it's very important for me to always be awake and aware of that presence, that background, and to be able to carry it forward. Again, what will my legacy be when I leave and transition? I want the generation after me and also young children to realize that they must always be awake and understand that people paved the way for them to have a better life. So for instance, you'll see an abstract version of water. This is an ocean, the waves in the ocean. I am channeling those lost souls perhaps as they were transitioning around 1619 to come to what's now the United States. And that horrific time, I can't imagine. But these are lost souls and also represents positivity. I'm one of 10 children, so you'll see that I represent 10 egg-like shells here, floating in the ocean, but one here. That's my mother representation. But again, this is channeling some positive energy of our soul, of our ancestors. And I lost 2 brothers along the way in my life, but again, this represents my faith, but you'll see red crosses here. But this is also the plight of any individual who has had trials and tribulations and has overcome them. And so what this angelic-like feature here is, or like cross, represents that power of transitioning to something positive and something that is possible out of something tragic. And I use this as the center of focus, but not to take away from everything that's be around it. This is the awakening. And also, I mentioned ladder. There's a ladder here. This ladder represents the ladder up as we are moving on, hopefully making better decisions in life or just channeling what we need to do to keep going, to keep moving forward, especially during this time or times of trials and tribulations, this ladder. I also have, I mentioned cages. If you look really close, there are smaller cages here of being trapped, caged. But again, this is about perseverance and moving on. So it has a positive story. But then I have these larger bars here, which also represent cages. They're just are open now and they're exploding all across the canvas. When I was channeling this painting, I didn't know what to title it. I didn't know until I was finished. It speaks to me. All my paintings tell me when I'm done. But this painting also reflects these petals like they're falling off of a tree at night or so. I wanted to channel giving them their flowers, giving all of those souls and our ancestors that we may never have known or met, but giving them their flowers now for everything that they did and the fact that they were not considered as human, more or less they were as slaves. So I am giving them their flowers. There's a lot to say about this piece, and I know I gave you a lot of detail, but sometimes I really would like someone to stare at the painting and get their own interpretation of it. It's awakening. So I often ask, my collectors or just people who appreciate my work, what do you see in this? What moves you to this painting? It's a lot in here, and it's okay if you don't interpret what I painted. If you like it, or you can appreciate it, that's fascinating. Or if you have an expression or something interesting to channel, that's great too, because that's what art is. So I also include what I call tracks in my work. These are the tracks. Tracks represent, again, movement, where are we going in life. I happen to paint tracks on most of my paintings because I'll share something more personal because I am an abstract artist. I mentioned that my works are painted diaries. So one of my brothers, when he passed away, I noticed he had tracks on his arms. He had a substance abuse issue. And so I remembered that, and again, I'm channeling, trying to get through grief or things that I just don't understand. But I'm doing that on art. So, with art, excuse me. So that's why you tend to see tracks. That's how I started. But the tracks then evolved into literally the steps we're taking in life. What are we doing? Are we making positive decisions or are we moving backwards? And how do we keep going, keep going? So that's what my tracks represent. I think that's all I can say about this piece. It's the reason why I titled it Awakening. So hopefully you will appreciate this piece as you learn more about it. And yeah, that's it, Awakening. So I guess if you'd asked me what I would like visitors to take away from my work, I mean, I mentioned it kind of, sort of, but let me just say, a reflection. When I look at a piece of artwork, I stare at it probably for several minutes, if not more. And if I really love it, I'm probably going to revisit it or come back and look at it for at least 30 minutes or so. So what I ask anyone that is viewing my work, any kind of work, just reflect on it and see if you see yourself in it. See if you can relate and get inspired. And that's what I'd like for viewers to take away from my work. Okay, so my future plans, well, I'm going to keep painting, but I would say stay tuned because as an artist, we always look forward to showing our work. I'm looking forward to showing a body of work, and I will keep you posted. But I have some great individuals and network of phenomenal people, and a gallery, the Martha's Vineyard Gallery, Nowhere Art Gallery. I absolutely love that gallery. They're doing so much, and it's the reason why I'm in the Venice Biennale. So I'm looking forward to doing more work there with Nowhere. But I am looking forward to showcasing my work wherever anyone wants to see it. But I also have a studio, and so I know that there are some clients that are that have inquired about work, and I'm working on something. I will keep you posted, and then I start sharing it or say, come on out to the studio, I have some work to show you. So stay tuned, everyone. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep painting. I don't paint to exhibit, believe it or not, or necessarily to sell. I paint for my therapy. So I'm blessed that the work is appreciated by others, but stay tuned.